So my question is about suffering, and I have an example that I want to clarify about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real story about a child who got diabetes, and the parent, the mother, comes in and says, "We are so lucky. We are going to learn so much about food and how to eat and how to take care of our bodies." And that could easily have been, "Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We have to handle insulin. We have to blah, blah, blah." And the outcome of that is very different based on how you view the incident, the thing, what the suffering might be. Am I on track with that?
Yes. So either of those examples, they're making meaning of it. And so
Yes.
that's the power that we have as humans. We get to make meaning of what's happening in our life. And it tends to be, we tend to make meaning by default, by how we've been programmed, in the way we've been raised and what the culture tells us. Biologically, we tend to look for negative. It's a really great way to stay alive, by noticing that which might be harmful. But from an expanded consciousness, from a commitment to being consciously engaged in your own spiritual awakening, focusing, only seeing the negative gets in our way. So that is a really concrete way of saying, I get to make my own meaning about this particular happening. And do I have the freedom of choice, or am I in reactivity? Do I have freedom of choice to say, okay, how can I see this? If what is there as an opportunity? It takes practice. And this is where self-compassion is so important, is because decades of having something happen that we would prefer not, and then the meaning and the suffering getting caught up in it. It takes practice to unhook that and say, okay, this is happening, and I'm aware of all of these thoughts and feelings that then arise because of it. Mm-hmm. And how do I be aware of that so I have freedom of choice rather than just be caught in reactivity? How can I respond versus how can I react to it? And sometimes it is riding through the painful bit without getting caught in the meaning of it. Mm-hmm. I ate something yesterday that very much did not agree with me, very seriously did not agree with me, and I was incredibly uncomfortable. All I could do was breathe through it, breathe through it, breathe through it, breathe through it. And there were moments when I wasn't sure what it was. Is something very seriously wrong, or do I just have food poisoning? Like, what is it? And as soon as that arises, the suffering turns from, I'm really uncomfortable right now, mm-hmm. to fear, a kind of a scrambling of what should I do. And it's important of noticing those differences, because there's not the guarantee that life won't be painful or painful bits that arise. It's how we get ensnarled in it that makes it so much more than it needs to be. But again, it takes practice of noticing what arises in those thoughts and those feelings, and having some spaciousness to have that freedom of choice. This is happening. How do I want to respond? What's my ability to respond to it? Versus
that's a big pattern to change.
Yeah, right. So it's an appreciation that we tend to react. Something happens and we react. All right, we know that, we've been trained that way, and now we're going to experiment with something new.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.